time to be the GOAT. It's time to enter God mode, man, let's get it going. I wanna be the greatest, energy is overflowing. I know I'm stoking the fire, my desire's taking over, not time.
Okay, you beautiful friends, welcome back to the bag of this in my truck, and it's that time. You can tell by the thumbnail, you can tell by the title, I am finally getting to the Learning the Lore Part 2 of Adventure Time. And from what I'm gathering, after I'm done with this part, that's when I'm going to jump into some more story-based lore diving, because I know that this from Footofaferret, I'll try to leave a link to his video down below, hopefully I remember, but with how rapid fire he is going, I plan on, like, because I've seen other videos out there that are like 15 minutes long with like just the mushroom war and focusing on Simon and Marceline and just character driven studies on this stuff. So I'm kind of going to then go to part 3 and start doing more storyline driven focus stuff. This is my base primer version, and from there, just, yeah, y'all get the gist of it. So yes, my belly's full because where I am parked tonight, my wife was able to order me some food from a place called Fat Jack's here in South Carolina. So my belly's full. Yeah, I had to walk to go get it, but it wasn't that far of a walk, so it's not that big a deal. So yes, belly's full. Got me some Baja Blast right here, and other than that, the only thing I could think of is where we last left off with this was where Finn had to kind of, I don't know the best way to say this, because obviously YouTube, they don't like certain wordage sometimes, but Finn had to destroy a grass copy of himself, I guess is the best way to put it. Fern. He destroyed Fern. So yeah, and I think where I last left off, yes, I stopped watching the last one where they were about to tell me that Fern's back. So I do vaguely know where we're starting. And yes, we last left off with Finn having to deal with the emotions of all of that. So with that said, I think the biggest thing to say now is let's just shut me up and jump into this. So that's what we're doing. 3, 2, 1, and play.
That is until, oops, Fern's back, and now he's tall. And he's got friends. Friends that look like they could be Princess Bubblegum's family or something. Well, that's because they are. These are the Bubblegums. I don't know if that's their official collective name, but that's what I'm gonna call them. There's Cousin Chicle, Aunt Lolly, and Uncle Gumball. Duh. Say
Balls. Okay. Yeah, that was random and weird. Unfortunately, yes, I only made it like 21 seconds into this one. But, yeah, it's Adventure Time, so it's random and weird. So, we get Fern back. I was expecting that. But then we also get Princess Bubblegum's family. So, out of nowhere. And I would have thought that he was going to say that it's her dad and mother and brother, but no, he said Uncle Gumbald and Aunt something and something else for the younger one, I guess a cousin. So yeah, this kind of coming out of nowhere, so I guess let's continue and play. And I messed it up, but that's okay, because that gives me a second to say, while I know I say it every lore video, almost, but the reason why I go play is because when my hand gets roughly right here, because of my jerking motion, I know to restart the video then, because I don't do it like everyone else. I don't screen record, blah, 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 blah. So either way, let's continue And
that one. Princess Bubblegum created them when she was little, and things were pretty chill at first. But little did Bonnie know, her family was secretly conspiring against her. Bonnie was like, ain't all this candy nature dope? Let's plant trees. But Gumball was like, money.
Okay. Gumball is all about the money, I guess. But I wanted to stop right after I started playing it, and lo and behold, he said that she created them. That's wild. I didn't know that was gonna come. So I guess who created her then? I don't know, but I guess the only thing we can do is just continue. So, let's play and play.
He wanted to build apartment buildings and sell merch and stuff, and wanted Bonnie to stop standing in his way. So he created this goop that would turn Bonnie into a big old dum-dum, and the whole family was in on it. That is, until Gumball tricks the other two into taking the dum-dum juice, and they got turned into... Oh, wait, those are candy people. We've seen those guys tons of times this whole show. Oh, this just got way darker, dude. Luckily, Bonnie manages to use the dum-dum juice on Gumball and save herself. And that's pretty much how the Candy Kingdom got started. But here's the thing. When Lumpy Space Princess reset Ooh in Season 9, she also reset these candy people back to their original forms.
Pause. Okay. I heard what he's saying there, but I also wanted to touch on the fact that he told us that this is how the Candy Kingdom started. So these three are the start of the Candy Kingdom, and Princess Bubblegum, I'm gonna take this one out of my ear because I feel like I'm yelling. Princess Bubblegum is literally the one. Plus, I usually have headphones on. I don't know where they are because I had to hit the brakes really hard the other day, and where I keep everything here, it's unorganized. So either way, rabbit trail, get back on track, Billy. So nonetheless, though, yeah, okay. So she started the Candy Kingdom by accident with some dum-dum juice. Wow. Okay, let's put this back in my ear and continue, because now with the reset, they're back. So, okay. Oh, but what? Wait. What about the rest of the candy people in the Candy Kingdom? If we have a reset, what would happen to all of them? Would they be reset to something else? I think I'm thinking too much about this. So let's continue and play.
The Bubblegums. And they want revenge. Okay, this is getting serious. Like, big serious. Bonnibel and Gumball are prepared to go to full-on war with each other. The troops meet on the battlefield and stuff's about to go down. But then Jake jumps in with the nightmare juice, how convenient that they just happened to get that right before a war, and everyone gets knocked out into a dream state where they work out their differences. Finn and Fern are cool now, and PB and Gumball decide to call a truce. Except he was actually gonna double-cross her anyway, so Aunt Lolly jumped in and dum-dummed him. That is a very perceptive piece of gum. Oh, and Fern's dying. Yeah, they killed the grass demon thing inside him during the dream, and that's made his body unstable somehow, and now he's withering away. I don't know. Show's weird. But yeah, looks like the war's off. Seems like a pretty anticlimactic ending. Oh, crap. So, this is Gold. He's an ancient...
Okay, pause. I was trying to let stuff play for a little longer and take everything in all at once, but at a certain point, you just gotta pause and comment on the insanity that is happening right here. So, okay. So the war's off. Gumball and Princess Bubblegum decided to have a truce. Gumball was going to double cross her, and the ant version, I guess whoever ant she is, tripped him up and dum-dummed him. So cool on that. And now Finn has to essentially watch himself die again. The first time, he had to do it with like a weed whacker thingy. And now this time he essentially has to watch himself die. Not necessarily himself, but a grass fern version of himself. Yes, I agree with Footofaferret. The show's weird, but in a good way. In a good way. Keep that in mind. I am familiar with these characters, but I just don't know all this whole story. So, yeah, the show's kind of weird, but I'd be darned if it ain't good. Other than that, now we also have Golb. I don't know what Golb is, but it has a pyramid on the top of their heads, so yeah, let's play. I'm gonna try to let more play than normal this time, but can't make promises. Y'all know how this goes. Pause, commentate, pause, commentate. Y'all know how commentary videos go. Let's play and play.
Giant demon baby of chaos summoned by Betty and Normal Man as part of Betty's plans to bring back Simon. And Golb is just wrecking the place. Ice King goes over to Betty and makes her experiment blow up. Again, classic Ice King. But then Golb full-on swallows Finn, Betty, and Ice King and starts digesting them in his stomach. And I don't mean digesting like with stomach acid, I mean they are being broken down to their essential forms. Which is kinda just a convenient way to have the crown reset and have Ice King turn back into Simon permanently. Which is nice, but that reunion is short-lived because the walls start closing in. They're gonna get smashed, dude. Meanwhile, everyone else is still fighting Golb's monsters. Bubblegum gets full-on crushed, and Marceline, who I forgot to mention is also there, panics. But when she realizes Bonnie's okay, she rushes over to hug her, and aww, they kissed.
Balls. Okay, well, that was a roller coaster. Bubblegum gets smashed, which she's Bubblegum. So that means all she has to do is reform herself when I slow down to think about it, but Marceline has to witness that and gets really mad for obvious reasons. And then, poof, she's good. Cool beans. Story continues. Okay. This show could be very traumatic if you slow down to think about the amount of trauma these characters are facing. Holy crap. Let's continue, though. Y'all know the drill. And play.
That's so sweet. Oh, and I guess Finn's gonna die, or whatever. In classic Cartoon Network style, everyone starts singing to solve their problems. And Golb hates their song so much that his stomach starts opening up, letting Simon and Finn escape. Betty stays behind and uses the newly reset crown to wish that she would become Golb herself so that she can leave Ooh, sacrificing herself to keep Simon safe. And with that, it's all over. Not everyone made it out alive in the end, but the fighting is over. And so is Adventure Time. We get a really amazing montage of everyone's lives after the war, and a glimpse into the future of Ooh, but...
Pause. Okay. So now everything's over. So hold on. So I'm trying to think of the right words here. You know, I hated Betty, but let's be real. I'll give her credit. She definitely came in clutch and did the right thing. Other than that, yeah. Show's over, so I'm presuming that we're going to get... That's the end of season 10, so we're primarily now going to focus... I'm presuming, here's where I'm presuming in my head, that we're now going to jump into... obviously the epilogue, and then Distant Lands, and possibly some Fiona and Cake? Huh. I don't know, let's see where we go. And bye.
Yeah, after all this, that is the story of Adventure Time from beginning to end. Okay, hear me out. Or what if we announce 4 brand new specials only a year after the finale? And thus, Adventure Time Distant Lands was born. A series of 4 original and mostly unconnected Adventure Time specials released on HBO Max over the last year. And considering I've already done a big ol' recap of all 10 Adventure Time seasons, it only makes sense to hop back into Adventure Time for a bit to talk Distant Lands. This is everything you need to know about Adventure Time Distant Lands. As usual, a lot of things will have to be oversimplified here because there's a lot to get through. So this whole shebang starts with BMO, the sentient Game Boy that lives with Finn and Jake, in their first special, BMO. We start with BMO out in outer space, flying around and singing about starting a potato farm on Mars. Yeah, this is Adventure Time, alright. But then they're thrown way off course and crash land on a mysterious space station called the Drift. And this place is in pretty bad shape, but no time to think about that now. Look! Conflict! Some aliens are fighting over a glowy green thing, but BMO's ship crashes on top of it, and that takes care of that. Naturally, they all get a little ticked at BMO and chase after him. But then, swoop! BMO is saved by this bunny girl named Y5. She's a scavenger on the Drift, looking for useful tech to bring to some guy named Hugo. BMO sparks some interest around the Drift after helping stop a breach in its hull, and soon, Y5 and BMO are met by this super shady looking guy named Mr. M, who I'm like 99.99% sure is Finn's dad Martin. We never see his face or anything, but I mean, Martin, Mr. M, they got the same voice actor. Yeah, theory confirmed. And knowing that, we know that Mr. M here can't be trusted. But the gang doesn't know that.
Pause. Okay. So I was trying to let some more play than just pausing every 20 seconds because, you know what, I'm going to stop saying I'm going to let more play. I'm just going to do my thing. Nonetheless, though, yeah, I tried to let more play, and immediately I go right back on what I just said. Either way, y'all know what I'm saying. BMO. So, the first thing for Distant Lands, I didn't even know that they were, like, you know, 4 different specials. I thought it was just like, I thought it was something bigger than, I thought it was for, like, Finn and Jake or something. I don't know what I was thinking. But the first, I guess, episode / special was a BMO-centric episode, which is very interesting. I like the idea. I've always loved BMO as a character. Yeah, so this is interesting. And then he found him a little friend named Y5. So that's also interesting. I like where we're going with this. What we're going to do with it, I don't know, but it is what it is. So let's continue and play.
So they follow him to this giant super gumball thing called the Unity Pod. And inside the pod is Hugo, an alien elf scientist man who seems to be the leader of this whole place and the one in charge of building the Unity Pod, which he claims will fix all the problems with the Drift. Breaches and malfunctions have been happening all over the place, so they gotta try and make them not happen. But the pod is missing one last piece called a Genesis Crystal, which is trapped in a super dangerous part of the Drift called the Jungle Pod. But BMO being BMO, they're just like,
I can do it! Just tell me who I need to kill!
And Hugo's like, alright. So, BMO hops over to the Jungle Pod with Mr. M, grabs the Genesis Crystal, and experiences instant regret as the entire pod is thrown into chaos and the plants start chasing after them. Mr. M makes off with the crystal, traps BMO inside the pod, and BMO dies. Some of the angry plants attack and break him into a million pieces. So BMO's dead.
Pause. Okay, so judging by the way he ended that, saying BMO's dead, and then cutting over to a little music as if it ended, I'm going to take a presumption and just say BMO didn't die, but I'd be darned if that isn't, like, something sucky to be happening. I mean, goodness gracious. Yeah. Wow, BMO. I don't know what to say about it. I literally don't. So, I'm shutting up. Let's continue. And play.
Back at the Unity Pod, Y5 discovers that Mr. M has been secretly surveying the entire Drift, looking for parts to salvage for the Unity Pod. And every time something gets salvaged, its pod fails and shuts down. That's why the malfunctions and breaches have been happening. Building the Unity Pod is actively killing the Drift. And that's a bad thing. Y5 is like, She rushes off to get BMO, finding their corpse? Does this count as a corpse? Anyway, Y5 takes BMO to get fixed up by Oh, another BMO bot. Huh. So...
Pause. Okay, I was going to say something. It switched over to another screen before I had a chance to pause it. Maybe I'll have that on the screen instead. But I don't know why whatever this other bot is that's kind of like BMO he had an inhaler in his hand. So I don't know what the heck's going on with that. But okay, interesting that there was a different type of bot out there in the same style as BMO. But either way, I was just commenting on the whole inhaler being in his hand. Let's continue and play.
Yeah, this is Seago, a way older bot very similar to BMO who was actually created by Hugo. And they're like,
Hugo? Oh yeah, that guy sucks. And that Unity pod is just his ticket to ditch this place and leave you losers behind.
so yeah. That's bad. But hey, BMO's back together. That's a silver lining. So the gang runs back to the Unity pod to expose Hugo for the fraud he is. And give the guy credit, he comes clean pretty easily. He's like, yeah, I totally just built this thing so I can zap all your power and bounce. And now that Mr. M's given him the Genesis crystal, Hugo starts up the pod, hops inside, and smashes the controls. What are we gonna do? Well, BMO's like,
Why don't we all just unplug the pod and chuck it into space before it can zap the power?
and everyone else is just like, oh, yeah, okay. So they do that. Hooray! The drift is saved, and Hugo and Mr. M are aimlessly floating through space. And with that,
It's time for BMO to mosey on.
they set back off into space and fly to... oh, Earth, where they meet a little human boy in a stupid hat and a magic yellow dog. Surprise! This was a prequel the whole time. And that's BMO. 1 special down, 3 to go. Next up,
Balls. Okay. So yes. An origin story for BMO. Well, kind of an origin story for BMO. Still don't know who built him originally, but origin story for BMO and how he came to Earth. Pretty cool. I like the idea of that. And judging by what I'm seeing here on the screen now, we're now getting Adventure Time, Distant Lands, Obsidian. So I thought that this was just a special by itself that had nothing to do with Distant Lands. So, okay, I'm learning that Obsidian was part of the whole 4 special thing of Adventure Time. So, okay. And judging by the poster I'm seeing, hopefully everything lines up on the editing. It's Marceline and Bubblegum, obviously. So, cool. Let's see what they get into. And hopefully, I'll be able to finish this in less than 45 more minutes. And play.
Obsidian. We start this one in a new location for the series, as far as I can remember, leave me alone. The Glass Kingdom. A long time ago, this place was attacked by a giant dragon called Moto Larvo, but was saved by our favorite vampire demon bassist, Marceline the Vampire Queen. She sang a song and the dragon backed off, retiring inside a mountain called the Furnace, a place where glass citizens used to go to fix themselves when they got cracked. Flash forward many years later, and a young glass boy sneaks into the furnace to try and fix a crack in his head that everyone makes fun of him for. And naturally, stumbling into the resting place of the dragon that nearly wiped out your entire civilization is a bad idea. Glass Boy accidentally wakes up Moto Larvo, putting the entire Glass Kingdom in immediate, terrible danger. So to make up for dooming his people, Glass Boy sets off to find Marceline, who's been living a pretty chill, normal life with her girlfriend, Princess Bubblegum. Yeah, so I know the last special was a prequel, but we're off into sequel town now. Glass Boy makes it to Marceline's house and is like, help! But Marceline and Bubblegum are actually kinda hesitant to say yes. Glass Boy's just like, come on. Seriously? So it's off to the Glass Kingdom. Cut to the furnace where Marcy reprises her old song, and it's a diss track at Bubblegum. Yeah, so the song Marceline played all those years ago came from an argument between her and Bubblegum, and that became the day they first broke up way back when. So this...
Pause? Okay. So, turns out there's obviously a history that I don't even know about between Bubblegum and Marceline, because now we're being told that it was a diss track / breakup song / whatever you want to call it that came from Marceline to Bubblegum that the dragon enjoyed hearing. So now it's going to get a little awkward, because now Marceline has to play that song again and possibly bring up all those memories for Bubblegum. And let's just say, bringing up memories from the past is never a good thing when it comes to relationships, because I'm sure this is going to start an argument. So yeah, that sucks, but let's find out what happens. And
This is more than a little awkward. And worst of all, it don't work! So, out of nowhere, Bubblegum calls in a surprise giant bird, who drops a fancy force field machine down that manages to keep Molto Larvo inside the furnace for now. Basically, Bubblegum had a secret plan B this whole time in case Marceline failed, which is also more than a little awkward and leads to another argument. Bubblegum's plans fall through, and Molto Larvo is now loose in the city. Things are going really well. Glass Boy lures the dragon into the furnace, Marcy and PB chase after him, and a malfunction with the force field caused by these three characters who are lame, so I don't want to talk about them, all leads to Glass Boy, Marceline, and Bubblegum getting trapped inside the furnace. The dragon is stuck under some rubble for now, so with what little time they have left, Marceline and Bubblegum make up, and Marcy sings a really sweet
pause before we get into that. If they're in the furnace, granted, yes, that should help the little Glass Boy. But if they're in a furnace, shouldn't that, like, if Bubblegum's made of bubblegum, shouldn't that kind of melt her? Because that's just kind of, I don't know, maybe that's just my logic. I don't know. Yeah, that's the only reason I stopped it, so that I could think out my thoughts of wouldn't that melt Bubblegum. But hey, whatever.
love song. A song that causes Molto Larvo to get all introspective. Apparently, they used to be this cute little fish thing that went into hiding after being attacked and nearly killed. They covered up their scar with a shell, and over the years grew old and angry. But after hearing Marceline's song, they remove the shell, the scar starts glowing, and then they break open and turn into a glowing cat butterfly? How many animals is this thing? So, the dragon's not a threat anymore. Marcy, Bubblegum, and Glass Boy manage to escape from the furnace, and that's basically it. Next special, Wizard
Balls. Wait, what? Why didn't you... Okay, so I don't know if Glass Boy... Because the problem is Footofaferret draws some of his characters and stuff. So what we're ending with is the fact that we see Glass Boy with a crack still on his head. So why didn't he just stay in the furnace and get his crack fixed and then come out with them? Obviously the butterfly dragon thingamajigger isn't a threat no more. Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know. Wow. That is one heck of an ending to it. It could... I know I'm not watching the special, but if I was to watch it and that's the ending I'm getting, I'm a little disappointed. But then again, how else are you going to end it? I mean, it is kind of a little difficult to just end something. So, I guess, sure, whatever. Either way, the next thing we're doing is Wizard City. And we got two characters on the front that I'm not familiar with. And then we got the Peppermint character. And I've seen memes of him with a city burning in the background saying some people just want to watch the world burn. So I'm not fully immersed in who the Peppermint character is. But the other two, whatever. I don't know. So...
City. Okay, so for this one, we gotta start with the character I kinda glossed over in my first recap, Peppermint Butler. Long-running character in the show, Princess Bubblegum's butler, also an avid user of dark magic. Near the end of the original series, he came into contact with Dum Dum Juice, the stuff made by Bubblegum's evil Uncle Gumball that turns anyone it touches into a harmless, stupid candy person. So when Peppermint Butler got doused with it, he reverted back to a stupid little baby mint. Now, many years later, baby Peppermint Boy is trying to attend a magic school in Wizard City to learn to become a powerful dark wizard again. The only problem is, in Wizard City, dark magic is illegal. And funnily enough, a Peppermint Butler is also illegal in Wizard City. Yeah, apparently this dude is an infamous and feared dark wizard here, banned from ever returning.
Hey.
So yeah, that's not...
Pause? Wait, what the heck? How do I not know more about this Peppermint Butler character? I mean, good gosh. He's into dark magic. He's a dark wizard. He's banned from the city because of the dark magic and how he, according to the screenshots I just saw, how he's just a big menacing figure. How do I not know more about this character? Holy crap. Yeah, that's kind of out there. But it is adventure time, so what do I expect? Let's continue and
We're gonna make life easier for our little Peppermint Boy. And he's already not having the best time. He donked up his audition for magic school, only barely got accepted. He's getting bullied by these cool kids, and he got shoved into the loser house with this girl named Kadebra. Kadebra's really not interested in real magic. She prefers stage magic. Sleight of hand, the fake junk. She's also the niece of classic Adventure Time character Abracadaniel, so that's kinda neat. But you know what's not neat? Murder. Hey, Editor Fofi here. I'm about to start talking about a character named Spader, and I just realized that I called him Saber, like, the entire video. I've been editing this video for a very long time, and honestly, I don't really feel like re-recording those lines right now, so just know, between you and me, anytime I call this guy Saber, I meant Spader. Is that okay? Cool, thanks. One night, Peppermint Boy's bully, Saber, mysteriously goes missing and is thought to be dead. And Saber's friend Blaine starts suspecting Peppermint Boy might have had something to do with it. You know, what with his poor relationship with Saber, his use of dark magic, and the fact that a ghostly apparition of the real Peppermint Butler barfed itself out of Peppermint Boy's mouth and told him to show Saber who's boss, loudly, in the same room as Blaine. Yeah, it's gonna raise suspicion. So, Blaine starts snooping around Peppermint Boy's stuff, discovers his identity through a photo album, of all things. Really think he would've left that one at home, and of course, calls the cops on him. So, our hero is now being arrested as the main suspect of a murder. That's all.
Pause, okay. Well, to be fair, when you got I guess a demon apparition of yourself coming out of you, and someone witnesses that, saying how you are going to, let me get the name right here, get Spader, and then you punch the mirror, and yeah, the person doesn't see the ghostly apparition demon form of yourself that came out of you. They just hear you talking about this, so it's kind of like, hey, we heard you talking about getting Spader, that's his name. We heard you talking about getting him, so you're now our suspect, because we've got a witness, so holy crap. Yeah, this Peppermint guy, yeah, he's got some things with him, but yeah, wow. And play.
That's a good thing. But Peppermint Boy manages to escape the cops and runs off into hiding. Now, here's where things get weird.
Okay, folks, so really fast, there was a stop right here in the middle of all this because, like I tell y'all sometimes during the beginnings of these learning the lore things, I don't do things the same way as everyone else. And sometimes I have a mistake when I push a button on the screen and it stopped on me. So I had to come back where I left off, and now we're right back there. So we're going to hit that play button in 3, 2, 1, and play.
Weird fast. And simplifying it for this recap is only going to make it more weird, but just stick with me here. Peppermint Boy is found by Kadebra and one of their teachers, who's like, Peppermint Boy, I'm so glad you're safe. Here, follow me into this dark tomb and check out this wicked throne with a skeleton on it. Okay. That's pretty out of nowhere. Also, that skeleton looks familiar. Why are people in robes emerging from the shadows? Yeah. Okay, so this is the tomb of Kokentepi, the resting place of a giant cosmic entity who seems to be where all the magic and ooh came from, or something like that. The people in the robes are a bunch of teachers from the school looking to revive Kokentepi and bring about a new age of terror and dark magic. Cool.
Balls, so hold on a second. Technically, this show is classified as for kids, but we just got the teachers The teachers, the teachers of this school that all, these kids are going to school at, we just saw the skeleton of Spader, yes, that's his name. We just saw the skeleton of Spader. So essentially, these teachers are the ones who kidnapped. They are the ones who kidnapped him. And they essentially killed him. Okay, I'm not going to ask questions on how old Spader was. I'm not going to ask questions on... I'm just not going to ask questions because ultimately these teachers, not just one, not just two, but a whole group of them, killed this student by means of trying to let the power of that other entity person into him, and obviously he couldn't handle it. So, yeah. Let's continue and...
Cool. All they have to do is find a worthy host who can handle all the dark magic and power, which they've not had much luck with. But a dark wizard like Peppermint Butler would be the perfect candidate. So they give Peppermint Boy Ichor. It's some gross, goopy magic junk that oozes out of Kokentepe's corpse. Apparently it contains their power. Peppermint Boy drinks it and... oh my god! He morphs into this giant, uncontrollable monster, kills all the teachers, hardcore, and it's about to wreak havoc all over Wizard City. But just then, Kadabra swoops in and uses her fun stage magic to distract Peppermint Monster so she can deliver one swift magic punch to the gut. Peppermint Monster barfs up the Ichor, returns to normal, and the world is saved. Yeah, there's some stuff about how Peppermint Boy doesn't want to be like Peppermint Butler, that ghost of Pep Butt that lives in his mouth evaporates into nothingness, Peppermint Boy and Kadabra are friends forever now, and that's pretty much the end of this very, very normal special. Oh, and that skeleton was definitely Saber. A child was murdered in this special.
Balls, yes. As Footofaferret said, a child was killed in that special. So, yeah. That sucks. Well, I don't know. Spader was kind of a jerk. But then again, me saying it that way makes it sound like I'm okay with it. It's a cartoon, so I can be okay with it. Let's continue and play.
No need to address that because we've reached the final special together again. We're finally back with our favorite boys, Finn and Jake, and guess what? They're dead. Yep. Our good boy Finn has found himself in the afterlife, dead as a doornail. And despite now being one of the many, many corpses in this video, Finn is just super excited to finally meet up with Jake again in the afterlife. But instead of finding his long-lost friend who passed away many years ago, Finn finds... this Fox dude. Ugh, okay, I know this guy's a returning character, but I can't remember his name for the life of me. Hold on. Oh, he's just called Mr. Fox. I could have guessed that. Finn's like, take me to my dog! And Mr. Fox is just like, yeah, you're gonna have to take that up with management. So Finn barges into this castle to meet with Death. But we've seen Death in Adventure Time before, and this ain't them. Yeah, this is New Death, the son of Old Death who accidentally inherited the job after killing his dad. Dude killed Death. By all accounts, that should have caused a paradox that consumed all of time and space, but nah. New Death's just kind of a jerk. He thinks all this afterlife junk is stupid and is just trying to destroy it all. So, yeah, I should probably explain. The place Finn's at right now is called the Dead Worlds, a form of afterlife with 50 different levels. Level 1 is Endless Misery, and level 50 is basically Nirvana. So...
pause, 50 levels? Holy crap. I feel like that's kind of a reference, though, honestly, to Dante's Inferno, where it's like 7 levels of hell, but without the hell part, and down at the bottom, which is level 1 somehow, is essentially hell, with level 50 being like, you know, heaven / nirvana, as he said. So, I wonder what level, 25 would be. That would be interesting. But yeah, that's kind of, wow. Wow. I just, this show always makes me just like, what am I listening to and what am I watching? Don't get me wrong, I'm following along pretty good, but holy crap, this show is sometimes just plain freaking crazy. Either way, let's continue and play.
Souls can rest in their assigned dead worlds, or they can be reincarnated for another chance at life. And New Death wants to get rid of all of that. Legit, he wants the afterlife to just be the endless misery and nothing else. So, Finn's gotta stop him. Well, kinda. He mainly just wants to find Jake. So, he runs off and starts hopping from dead world to dead world looking for him. Apparently that dude—
Hold on. I should have knew that Jake somehow would have made it to level 50. Yeah, I don't know how, but I should have knew that Jake would make it up to level 50. Okay. So you got 40 something level, pretty much 49 levels to go through. Okay. Either way, let's continue as always and
It made it all the way to Dead World 50, so Finn's got a lot of searching to do. Meanwhile, New Death just keeps blowing up all the other Dead Worlds, but the only one he can't access is number 50. So when Finn eventually finds Jake and he descends from Nirvana, New Death just hops in and takes his opportunity to blow the place up, sending every single soul down to Dead World 1, the one that sucks a lot. And I mean, even for Finn and Jake, trying to take on Death himself is kind of a big ask, so things are looking pretty hopeless. That is, until Jake suggests contacting someone outside the Dead Worlds. And Finn's just like, you could do that this whole time? So they contact Peppermint Butler, who's looking back to his old self again. He uses magic to grant Finn and Jake temporary access to the realm of the goddess Life. Life being the person who gives souls, well, life. And she's also New Death's mom. But she's pretty uninterested in helping the crumbling Dead Worlds or even—
Pause. Okay, so life, and then there's death, and life and death made a son, and then their son killed death, making him the new death. Oh, what? Okay, so if life and death made a son, wouldn't that just kind of make him like really powerful? Wouldn't that kind of make him like, you know, he can be the creator of life and death? Oh my gosh. I'm thinking too much about it. Let's continue, because this woman's about to get really mad that her son is about to, you know, mess up reincarnation for her. So
dealing with her son at all. That is, until she learns he's trying to get rid of reincarnation. Then she gets mad. Didn't care at all until it affected her personally. Unbelievable. So, Life gives Finn and Jake a magic stick called the Kiss of Life, claiming it has the power to conquer death. Like, literally. This stick will kill her son. But, remember how I said New Death accidentally inherited the responsibilities of Old Death after he killed him? Yeah, whoever takes out New Death is gonna have to become New Death. So that's gonna be a problem. But things only get worse when we discover that New Death this entire time has been puppeted by— guess who? That's right, it's the frickin' Lich again. You know, the Lich, one of the main recurring villains from the show who just never quite seems to be gone for good. Yeah.
Pause. Okay, so wait a second. So Life and Death had a child? Did that mean that the Lynch was the child of Death and Life? Hold on. So then, when the Lynch died, he ended up coming down here, killing his dad, becoming the New Death. And yes, I am pretty much glazing over the fact that Life ended up giving them a stick to essentially kill their son, but, you know, we'll just glaze over that. But yeah, so Lynch, like Footofaferret said, even in death, cannot get away from this frickin' Lynch. It's the end of the day for me. My brain is just blah. So yeah, we are still dealing with this frickin' Lynch character. Either way, let's continue and play. And I messed it up again, my goodness gracious. let's continue and play.
Him. Even in death, Finn and Jake cannot escape this guy. So now it's a final face-off between Finn and Jake and the Death Lich. Holy crap, that's a cool name. But Finn and Jake know that whichever one of them takes him out has to become the new Death. And they start fighting each other over who's gonna sacrifice themselves. But then Mr. Fox randomly walks in, sees them arguing over the kiss of life, and just yoinks it from them. The Death Lich attacks, Mr. Fox uses the stick, bada bing, bada boom, Mr. Fox is the new Death. And just for good measure, Jake flings what's left of the Lich out into the never-ending void. So, things in the dead world can go back to normal now, and all that's left is for Finn and Jake to settle down into their dead worlds. But Finn decides he'd rather take another shot at life. He spent so much time just...
Pause. Okay, so I'm gonna let this finish playing after I hit play again, but I hear what they're saying already, that, you know, they're wanting to be reincarnated and live a new life and all this stuff. But Mr. Fox is our new Death. So, okay, okay, oh, and them two arguing about who's going to do it kind of reminds me of, you know, when Black Widow and Hawkeye were arguing about who's going to take the Soul Stone in Infinity War, but maybe that's just me though. Yeah, okay, so they're going to want to reincarnate and try this all over again. So we only got like 45 seconds, so I'm going to let this last little bit play out and then just kind of give my afterthoughts and all that good stuff. And yeah, let's continue and play.
Waiting to be with Jake again, so he wants to be reincarnated and live a new life. One where he can be more in the moment instead of just waiting to die, I guess. But Jake's like, I'm just gonna come with you. They hop back into the world of the living, ready to be reincarnated, and with that, we reach the end of Finn and Jake's story. For real this time. And with it, the true final ending of Adventure Time. Oh, come on! There's a spin-off now?
Okay, so yeah, that was the end of Footofaferret's whole thing. So we just went through the entire story of, you know, them two and Adventure Time and everything, going all the way. Holy crap, we went through quite a freaking bit. Oh my goodness. I don't really know where to start. I do got this thing in my head where I feel like them, don't tell me if I'm right in the comments, but in my head, with them having the spin-off Fiona and Cake, I feel like that is them reincarnated. Please don't tell me in the comments, but that's just me. I feel like Fiona and Cake is the spin-off of them two being reincarnated as them. Whether it's true or not, I have zero clue. But I'm going to find out in our part 3, because that's where we're going from here. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have much of a choice other than to do that. I need to now find out if I am correct about it, Fiona and Cake being reincarnated, you know, from Finn and Jake. So, I'll find out when I do my little... If y'all made it this far, here's what I want. If y'all can do, should I do Footofaferret's video? Because I'm sure that Footofaferret did a video on Fiona and Cake and all that good stuff. I'm sure that he's done it, so I'm willing to do his unless someone else has a better video that's roughly 20 minutes long doing a recap of Fiona and Cake. Now, other than that though, after that one, that'll be part 3. After that one is where I can then jump into specific targeted Adventure Time lore videos, such as, I know I'm repeating myself, Mushroom War, or Mushroom Kingdom War, or whatever. I don't know, maybe the complete story of the Lynch, or Glorb. I don't know about his story. Maybe there's more details behind that. I'll have to look at... I've got a playlist that I'm kind of going to work from. I got to go look back through that stuff and find out, you know, what's what. But yeah, I got plans in my head about it. But first, we're going to go through Fiona and Cake and get that lore as well. But yeah, this show. Whew, this show is freaking all sorts of freaking crazy. I don't know how to describe it other than saying it is crazy, because pretty much in a nutshell, we start off with Finn and Jake and them being just, you know, two friends goofing off in this world of just, well, we got the Candy Kingdom. That's one part of the world. But we start off with all of that stuff, and it is just, holy crap. It's just a fun, weird little place where not much happens from the first season, but then all of a sudden we get thrown into so many different tailspins, from Simon and Betty back in the day, and you know, Simon and Marceline. We really haven't touched on that. I need to really go through that story just as by itself. And then just what's his face? Simon becoming the Ice King. Then somehow Betty comes and gets all, and bringing Glorb, and oh my gosh, it is the way that Footofaferret did it. It is so freaking head spinning fast. That's my biggest problem with the way Footofaferret did it. I like the lore videos that actually slow down and go through everything a little bit slower. I would have preferred to have something along the lines of, like I did with the, what was that? The Adventures of Gumball. Yeah. The Adventures of Gumball. I like that lore video because it seemed like it was really slower and really delved into everything a little bit more. So, and then with Glorb, holy crap. Literally, Betty had to sacrifice who she was, put the little crown on. Oh my gosh, then we ended up also resetting the entire world that they were living in. The Bubblegum people, or at least Princess Bubblegum's so-called family, let's put that in quotation marks, they get reverted back to their old self. So, oh my gosh, this whole world changed. There was just so many freaking twists and turns. I know I don't have the right words for it and all that stuff. I don't do it justice giving afterthoughts and nothing like that. All I do know is, wow, this show is crazy. I don't really honestly know what else to say. What I do know is I need to go ahead, leave it up to y'all to make y'all's comments. I need to run into the store here, get me some supplies for the rest of this week, because for me, it is a Monday night, and that's what I do on Monday nights. I stop off at a store, I get supplies for the week, and then that'll suffice me for the rest of the week, and I don't have to stop and just get a bunch of junk food and stuff like that as I'm driving throughout the day. So, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop and dwell on how freaking crazy the show was. Slash is, because we're not done with it yet. We got Fiona and Cake to go, because that is part of this universe. So yes, we will be going through that. I wish I just had more afterthoughts in general, but unfortunately for me, my brain's fried today. I've gone almost nearly 600 miles and I am just spent. So yeah, passing it off to y'all. I am completely finished. I am just out of thoughts. Hopefully y'all have some more thoughts. So if you made it this far, y'all know the drill by now. Hit that like, tickle to subscribe. Don't be texting and driving. Watch what you love and love what you watch. And take it away, Mr. Rogers.
I like you just the way you are.